Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the Hard Breacher edition here, where I'm going to be comparing Thermite, Habana, and Ace, the new operator that we get in Steel Wave. I'm not including Maverick here because while he is a Hard Breacher, I think he's more of a Hard Breach support and is good for getting bandits or whatever, and I don't think he's completely on the same tier or the same style of Hard Breaching as the three that I mentioned, Habana, Thermite, and Ace. So we're going to go over everything from the weapons, we're going to compare all those, and then we're going to go into what kind of gadget they have, how long it takes to deploy, and when you should be using each of the gadgets, because they all have their place in the game, which is why I love that they added Ace, because it just adds another Hard Breacher. It's not a replacement to anyone, it's just another one that's good on different situations. So without further ado, let's get into the weapons between Thermite, Ace, and Habana. So we're going to go ahead and start with Thermite, who has the 5.56 XI as his main weapon, which obviously is a 5.56 ammunition, so it does do quite a lot of damage. At 47 damage, 690 fire rate, and then a capacity of 30. The recoil is pretty manageable, so it's definitely a very good weapon. Now I'll get into damage per second and all of that once we get over all the guns, but now we have Ace's gun, which has 45 damage, 850 fire rate, and also a 30 round capacity. So Thermite and Ace so far are pretty comparable on weapons. I mean, AK-12 is obviously way better once we get into damage per second, but from a damage perspective, they are pretty close together, just 2 off. That fire rate though is what changes it all. The same thing goes for Habana. She has the Type 89 with 850 fire rate, 40 damage, and a 20 round capacity. So less bullets to work with, but she also has the Bearing 9 secondary, which is really good for really close range quarters. So those numbers don't really mean much in the Siege world because it is really a game of headshots, so ultimately it doesn't really matter how much damage it is if you hit heads, but damage per second is really something that you should probably take note of because you don't always hit headshots. So that's a better comparison rather than looking at damage and picking the one with the higher damage, because fire rate and damage together creates a whole formula for damage per second. So we're going to go over every single gun and their damages per second. So the Thermite 5.56 has a damage per second of 540.5, and that's 540 damage per second. Then Habana's gun, the main primary rifle there with the Type 89, has a damage per second of 566.67. Then we have the gun that everyone considers one of the best in the game, and that is for good reason, with a damage per second of 637.5. Now, it's easy to compare those numbers and say the AK-12 is the best, but you also have to look at recoil. I think for sure Thermite's gun is the best for recoil control, but obviously everything can affect recoil patterns and such, so the attachments matter, of course, and then that also results in damage per second, because the damage drop off and fall off point can change depending on what attachments you use, the damage fall off for that weapon, etc. So this isn't the end all be all to say that this is the best gun, but Ace's gun looks like it comes out top here in a lot of different ways for the weapon comparison. So let's get into the gadgets now. So once we're going to start with Thermite, the OG operator for hard breaching, and he creates still the largest hole by far, the largest breach in any wall, but he probably is the easiest to bandit trick. Thermite can only open 2 walls compared to some of the other operators here that can open more, but it takes the same amount no matter if it's a hatch or a wall. With Thermite, you only have to use 1 Thermite for a wall or a hatch, and that is where we go into Habana, who will only be good for hatches now that Ace is out, because she takes 3 of her Habanas to make a actual sizable hole in a hard breach wall. Not only that, is it is skinnier than both Ace and Thermite's breaches, so using her for hatches is probably going to be the main use with Habana moving forward. So now into our new operator, which is what everyone obviously is here for, and that is Ace. Ace has 3 throwables, so he can get 3 walls or a hatch and a wall, because hatches you would need to use 2 of his Ace charges. So a really important thing to note is you can throw 2 of his breaches in 3 seconds. So that is the difference between a Thermite and a Ace. Now, with that in mind, it takes longer for them to actually engage and breach open a hole, and it does it in tiers. So 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer. It's like a Habana charge, but 3 times. So with that being said, you can can throw one at each side of the wall, assuming it is a two-sided wall or three-sided wall, right? You could throw two on one wall and it'll basically be impossible to trick. You're going to be able to trick it, but it's going to leave the tricker exposed because at least one hole is going to open out of the two sides. Even if he sticks both of the charges somehow, he's going to be left exposed. It should lead to an easy kill and a nice line of sight into the bomb site. Basically though, Thermite and Ace are going to be used for walls most of the time, while Habana is going to be a hatch gadget from a straight gadget standpoint, because Thermite of course can open the largest holes while Ace can just do it more safely. He can throw it from afar, let it blow up, and get an easy line of sight into the bomb objective. While on a map where it is more of a hatch game like Clubhouse Basement or Bank in the Basement, you're going to want Habana and Thermite since they can open more hatches. So Habana can open 3 hatches, Thermite can open 2, while Ace can only open 1. So I can't just come out and say that Ace is the best, Thermite's the best, or Habana is the best, because they all have their place. Thermite is the best if you want the largest hole you can and you know that you're going to be able to get it off no matter if they're bandit tricking or not, and you have a really coordinated team. While Ace for solo queue is going to be one of the funnest hard breachers to play, because you throw your 2 things down, it's going to open the wall up and you don't have to play the wall. You can go frag with your AK-12, which creates a lot of unique opportunity, because not only did you open the wall and actually were a hard breaching and a support player for a second, you could also go have fun, be an entry fragger, not really an entry fragger, but you could go frag out and play by yourself once you get the wall open. Meanwhile, Thermite, I feel like takes more coordination. You have to have the Thatcher on the same page as you whenever you're Thermite in the hole, and it's easy to bandit trick. While Ace, it's easy to bandit trick, it's super easy to bandit trick, but a hole is going to get open and enter a new line of sight that is going to create rare opportunities for the attackers, which is ultimately what we need. We need a way to make the attackers have a better chance at winning. This is a more defensive sided game, so maybe this will balance things out just overall by adding this new operator. He's going to step in and instantly be a meta operator right alongside Habana and Thermite. He's not going to replace any of them, he's just going to be a part of them. He fills a role that definitely needed to be filled there. He's the jack of all trades. He can easily frag, he can hard breach decently, not better than anyone, but he can just hard breach decently. He can also destroy plenty of utility. He has smoke grenades, so therefore you can burn ADSs, and just overall I think he's a more versatile operator than the other two, which have a specific role: Habana, hatches, Thermite, walls. Now I don't think I can make this video without including Maverick in some way. I'm not going to compare him to the two, but I'm going to use him as a support hard breacher, which is what he is. So obviously Maverick was kind of brought into this game to counter bandit tricking, but the problem with that is once he opens the holes at the bottom floor or the bottom layer, right, not only can they look through and shoot your feet as a Thermite, if you try to place a charge there, they could also just kill you straight up through the hole. So now let's think of Ace. Ace, meanwhile, can throw his utility from afar after Maverick is done getting the bandit tricker off. Everyone can hold an angle to the bandit trick, and then Ace can easily just get the charge off, plus there will be no bandit tricking as you could see the feet. And that's really why Maverick, this is going to have no effect on Maverick. If anything, the pick rates of Habana and or Thermite are going to go down, and I don't think Maverick will have a real big effect. He still serves his purpose, hard breach support, and occasionally getting hatches and such, but if you are a Maverick main, I wouldn't worry about it. He's still a 3-speed, he still has a great gun, he has frag grenades, and he can break any wall or hatch regardless of if it has a Cade or a bandit charge in place. So in my opinion, Thermite is best against capable defenders who are tricking, and if you have a coordinated team, as you will get the easiest hole and it's the quickest detonation time from start to finish. Thermite is also better at getting hatches than Ace. Now Ace is the best at uncontested walls, and especially good for uncoordinated teams. Especially, I think he's going to be a ranked star player, one of the best guns in the game. So frag heavy game like Siege, a lot of players are going to lean towards Ace over picking a Thermite, and especially a Habana. So Ace has a better gun, arguably probably a better secondary gadget with smokes, an ability to open up 3 walkable holes, assuming they aren't being bandit tricked or anything or contested at all. There will be 3 open walkable holes, so that's better than 2 obviously with Thermite. Then Habana is the queen of hatches. She's always going to be that from now on. I think Ace, if anything, makes Habana pretty much irrelevant for walls, just off of reinforced walls. We're not talking hatches yet. He has the ability to make it much faster and the potential for a way larger hole than Habana. Thermite Thermite and Hibana are both better at hatches. Ace is better than Habana for walls, and Ace has the best weapon. So that is my final conclusion of these operators. I would like to know if you agree or disagree and what you would change about how I formatted this, and if I graded them fairly, because I don't know if I graded them fairly. That was my final grade there though. And of course, this is just my opinion. I would love to hear yours as well. So thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one.
Don't want a complication.